Hello everyone, Wubsy Wongy here. I'm just gonna have a personal conversation with y'all about a topic that it seems like it keeps coming up with just some friends of mine, and it's something that I just been concerned about some people. I do apologize for the lighting. I put one of the lamps or whatever over here so it's better lighting. But I have noticed that it just feels like some of the people that I've personally known in my life, it seems like they get in these sticky situations where they're in a relationship with someone and then they break up with them. And like for me, every relationship has its ups, has its downs. But one thing I don't understand is these people who are players, these people who don't really um, I mean, I'm not here to judge anyone. I'm not here to put anyone down, but like if you're in a relationship with someone and it's either toxic to your mental capacity, to your physical capacity, it's really not healthy sticking it out. And yes, it's one thing if you're married to someone, but still, it's like, is it healthy to stay in these relationships? And a few conversations that were mentioned this week about relationships. Um, Everyone has problems. But one thing that gets tiring that I hear like on some of my groups is people they're wanting advice. Does this sign go with this sign? And it's aggravating because it doesn't it doesn't really matter what your star sign is, in my opinion. What matters is, are you willing to make it work? Are you willing to go the extra mile in this relationship? And it just dawns on me to think that some of these people, they're just so set on if they had, let's say, speaking of the star signs, if they were in a relationship with a Cancer, which I'm a Cancer, we're crazy. um, that doesn't mean, like for my ex, he was a Cancer. That doesn't mean all Cancer guys are horrible. It does not mean that. Or it doesn't mean just because you had a bad experience with a Gemini guy doesn't mean all your Gemini guys are going to be jerks. Now, there are some that have been jerks. Sometimes my boyfriend has been a jerk. But we all honestly can be a jerk at sometimes. We all can be snappy and just really aggressive with our words and stuff. But I don't think the whole compatibility thing that people say is kind of bogus in my opinion. People are so set that this is the way it is when it's not. And go listen to that song if you've never heard it. It's a country song. It meant to be. Because if it's meant to be, let it be. That's pretty much the lyrics to this song. That people think that love has to be this miraculous thing when love is very hard. When you honestly love family that have treated you horrible, it's hard to love family. It's hard to forgive yourself of the mistakes you personally made. It's hard to love. Even it's hard to love yourself and to look at the imperfections thinking, hey, I am beautiful. I am unique. It doesn't matter what people say. But I think we also not like the topic, you know, women have the misconception of women empowerment and people have the misconception of women empowerment, but also too we have the misconception of what is a relationship and what is it supposed to look like. And I know from experience, for you that are married, it may be set in stone for your children to say, you need to date this person and then, end up being engaged. But like for me, the experience is different because I was married for 4 years, but that doesn't mean I need to jump into marriage. That doesn't mean for me it's a right thing. It's unhealthy because it's like if I was to live at least for a week or a month with my ex-husband before I got married to him, I wouldn't have married him. So that is not for everyone. But I know me personally, living with my boyfriend is probably the best thing. And I've got to know him more, and he is a pretty decent guy. But doesn't matter if he's a Gemini, doesn't matter if I'm a Cancer. No. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter on your star signs, and let's just get that out of the way. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the compatibility. What matters is if you're serious about taking this relationship that you're in and making the best of it and working with what you have and the faults of each other and coming together. And that's something I learned. A lot of the problems in marriages or a lot of the problems in relationship is there's no communication and there's a lot of assuming. And that's a problem. That's a problem that I've had. That's a problem that a lot of people really get wrong in their marriage or their relationships, that we want to assume things are okay with our partner or with our husband when it's not. We want to sit here and nitpick about the little things but don't really figure out what the heck is going on in this relationship. So that's pretty much something I wanted to get across to you all, that relationships in general take time, take a lot of understanding on both parties, and take a lot of care and delicacy. Like if you're dealing with, I'm not saying for women or men, but if you're dealing with a partner or someone you're with and they're very sensitive to what you're saying, maybe change the way you're doing things and try to speak their language. Like if they're the type of person that they love when you give them something, or they love you doing service for them, like rubbing their feet, rubbing their back, and that speaks volume to them, you should take it upon yourself to do those things to cheer them up, do things that help them. And if they're just slamming your face on the door and they're really not taking the time to understand you, then there are things you need to evaluate in your relationship and realize, is this worth it to go the extra mile for someone that's not taking the time for me? And it's difficult when you do have kids. Like for me, I can't speak for this, but I'm just saying of what I've observed. You know, when you do have kids and you're married or with someone or whatever, it's difficult when kids are involved. And I've had friends and I've talked to them. And that's when you need to look and evaluate your life. And are you willing to keep this toxic relationship even though you got kids? Like there's a couple of my friends, they have kids. And I really believe some of them really need to think about their kids more than what whoever they're with. If it's an abused spouse, if it's an abused boyfriend, girlfriend, I don't know. You just gotta think of your priorities. Yes, you love this person or you love someone, but you need to evaluate, is it worth the time and energy to give myself into the relationship and give myself 99% of the time, but they're not willing. It's a lot to think, especially if you've got kids. Now, me personally, I've come to terms that there really needs to be, in relationship, there's really need to be authenticness. And if you're covering up things that you really shouldn't be having in the relationship, there's times where you need to confess things that really need to be talked through. And speaking from a person who did cheat, and you know, I was very sorry for the things that I did. And I'm just being real with you all. the only reason I felt the need to do those things and cheat on my partner and cheat on my ex-husband is because there's no love, no affection. But still, that's not an excuse. And there's still times it still gets to me because I think to myself, why did I even do that? Why was I dumb enough to fall into that trap? And we get stuck in the past and it just creeps up on us like years later, and things start coming back in our mind. And right now we're looking, my partner's not really doing their part. I might as well just get back with that old person. But that's not going to solve your problems. That's going to make your problems worse. You see what I mean? So there's only what you can do now is look at yourself and evaluate things, what you want in the relationship. And if it's time to say goodbye, it's time to say goodbye. But also, too, at the end of the day, it's up to you what you want for your life. Whether you want to stick it out, whether you just want a messed up relationship and just pretty much this is what it is. But at the end of the day, people are going to suffer. People are looking up to you and stuff. So it's like, you want to suffer, or do you want a happy relationship? And if there are things in your relationship that need a change, do everything you can. But you shouldn't just give in the relationship either. So that's my life advice on just some of the crazy misconceptions of relationship, what people think they ought to be. It's not all fine and dandy, but you should be real with yourself and you should be real with your partner. And both of you need to come together if there's issues. So I love you guys. I hope you have a good day. Bye.